Hello everybody, welcome to another video and welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we're going to be building a new mountain bike. It's basically going to be this old 2005 Saracen and we're going to be turning it into this old 2005 Saracen. The aim of the build is going to be to do the kind of things that most people would want to do to a bike of this kind of age. So as you look at the old picture, you can clearly see it doesn't particularly look like it's ready to rock and roll, but when you look at the picture next to it here, it looks like it's ready to go. You could show up at the trail centre tomorrow, nobody would give you a second look, everybody would think you were on a piece of equipment just like theirs, and probably not realise that it's 15 years old at this point, this bike. So the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing this to the absolute minimum budget. So what I mean by that is, you see lots of people on YouTube doing the Walmart build bike, or if you're in the UK it would be like the Halfords bike or the Sports Direct bike, you know, but in America it'd be the Walmart bike, and they go and they spend $300, $400, $500 on a bike that's entry level, barely can do anything, really poor quality items on it, and then they take it somewhere extreme and it absolutely gets obliterated. It don't last 5 minutes and it's in pieces. So those kind of bikes, a lot of them have a really nice frame, but they're just kitted out with really poor components. So what would happen if you were to take a bike like that and you were to upgrade it with modern components that are relatively decent and actually give it a fair shout? And when you look on places like YouTube, there just aren't videos like that. There's lots of people, as I say, people like Sam Pilgrim or Skills with Phil or Seth, you know, they've all done the video where everybody goes and picks up the bike from Walmart, takes it to the bike park, shreds all day, absolutely annihilates the bike, has a good laugh, and then off they go on to the next video. But what happens if they were to take that bike home and repair it with proper parts, you know, and spend some real money on it and do the real upgrades and make it into a bike that's usable, potentially? What would happen then? That's what this video is, I'm hoping. So we're going to be doing it as the all China build. Everything on this is going to be really budget orientated because this is my money and it's my bike. And we're also going to be having all the Chinese parts, because these are the parts that you see all the time on eBay and places like that, and everybody seems to online seems to absolutely hate on all these parts. But the fact of the matter is that, do they work? Are they any good? What's my opinion on them? How do they work in the long term? Do they actually work decent enough for most people? And I'm really interested to know that. So we're going to be doing the all China build, but this kind of rebuild applies to using any kind of parts. You could do the same thing with all like really high-end quality components, and it would basically be the exact same thing. So with that in mind, enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy it. Here's a picture of the bike from the advert that I bought. As you look at it, it's not in good condition. It looks pretty downtrodden and not very good at all. You see it's got these big downhill 2.3 tyres, it's got huge brakes, coil suspension on the rear, not sure about the front, it's got bar ends on, and the seat post is extremely high. But what do I take away from these pictures? I see a bike with a 4-bar rear suspension system, which is a good system. I see a shock mount that looks replaceable. I see a 1 1/8 headset with a clamp on, which means that it's relatively decent. I also see a 3-bar drivetrain with a cassette here, you know, cassette cartridge, which looks replaceable. I see a band on derailleur, which again is replaceable. I see disc brakes. Okay, yes, the cable brakes, but it's got disc brakes, it's got mounts. The wheels have got discs on. These things are important. Also, the seat post is quite wide, which means it's a relatively thick seat post, meaning that it's quality, and we can most likely put a dropping post in there. There was one other picture on the advert, and this is it. It's the same photograph, just a little bit more zoomed in. And again, you can see that there's bar ends, you can see that this is quite wide. You can see we've got cable disc brakes and crimp on the end there, which looks like it's original. Same here, crimp on the front brake. Those to me scream that the original was also on there, which leads me to believe that the bike is pretty much original and relatively untouched. So when we take a bike like that and we look at it and we think, yeah, okay, so here's the advert for the bike, I'll show you it. £50, that's what I won it for. One bid, won the bike, £50, collecting Scarborough. That's 120 miles round trip for me and a couple of hours driving. So if you factor that in, it wasn't actually £50 because I've got the fuel and the time, but that's what I've paid in money, okay? And that's the advert that I bought it from. So when we've collected the bike, the first thing that we've done, just go back to here, is we've collected the bike, basically paid the guy, thrown it in the back of the car and drove home. I haven't touched it, ridden it, tried it, tested it in any way whatsoever while I was in Scarborough. It was extremely tight for parking, there's not really anywhere to ride the bike. If you've ever been to that village, it's just one of those places where you cannot get about. A car width is like a full street width. It's such an old town, you cannot get about. Parking and picking up this bike was not easy. It was before lockdown and it was a nice day I went there, it was busy. So there was none of that, it just went straight in the back of the car. The one thing I did was, pulled the seat post, pulled the wheels and just threw it all straight in the back of the car and went home. When I've got home, I built it back up and then I rode it up and down the street. Things that I noticed, the gears actually worked, the shifter was positive. Don't care about the front one because it's getting thrown away, but it did work. The seat post, obviously I'd already removed it to put it in the car, but yes, it went up and down, it was relatively free, could do with a little bit of lubrication. Forks worked, they were a little bit on the plush side I would say, a little bit soft, but they're a coil shock with preload and they're a Manitou. Same with the rear shock, it's okay, it works, it's got preload and it's also got a damper adjustment which I believe seems to work. Let's see if we can just... There's a picture of it, so it's got a little damper adjuster here and it's got the preload adjustment there and it works and nothing wrong with it, it's fine. The fork turned out to be this Manitou splice. It's a mechanical fork, a spring fork, which yes, okay, not ideal for these days, but it works and it's not bad at all really. I was extremely surprised just how good this thing was. There you go. And once we got it home and we got it ridden, tested, we stripped it down after we give it a wash and this is what it ended up looking like. So you can see we've pulled the bars, they were way thin, scruffy. We've pulled the tyres off. The tyres had plenty of tread on them, but the problem with them is that this is a 2005 bike frame when we researched it. So I went through the componentry checking out exactly what it had and what it didn't have. And this is Saracen's page. Now, that's the good thing about a reputable bike companies, they have product pages and you can reference this sort of thing 15 years later like I have with this one. So the bike itself is a 2005 Saracen Havok, which is this bike here. It's the second from the top of their range for that year. The bike retails for £7,500, so £750, which at the time was probably around $1,000. Right now, £750 will probably be about $850 to $900. So yeah, things change. But here's the spec of the bike. So it's got a 4-bar link, extreme full suspension, sealed roller bearings, 6 inches of travel. Well, I was unable to tell whether it had 6 inches of travel because of the coil system. It's difficult to measure a bike when you can't get it to sit at the bottom of its travel while you measure it. So I wasn't able to fully test exactly what this is, and I don't know why they're measuring the 6 inches. When I measure travel on a bike, I measure it at the bottom bracket. So the bottom bracket's at the floor height at the top, and then with the air let out of everything, the bottom bracket to the floor gap, and measure that again, and the difference is the travel. However, I'm not sure where they're taking this measurement from, and I'll get to that later. So it says it comes in 17 and 19. I believe this one is the 17, but I'm not sure. I haven't measured that either. It is what it is. The rear shock, again, exactly what it's saying here is exactly what it's got, that's fair enough. The gearing is wrong. It says 16 2x8, but it's actually 24. It's a 3x8 system, and the shifters match, and the crank is the correct one that it says on here. So I don't believe that the bike is wrong. I believe the product page is either incorrect or there was an option for both on the bike. So Manitou splice comp, 130mm travel, disc only, adjustable preload, that's correct. Cane Creek alloy A headset with quality seals, yes, that's correct. Shimano hubs, quick release front and rear with a cassette, yes, that's correct. Sun Rhino double wall rims, that's correct, it's got those as well. Stainless spokes, yes. Tyres, Tioga factory downhill, 26 by 2.3, that's correct, it had those on. 4-bolt alloy stem, yes, correct. Alloy riser bar, yes, but they were only about 580 wide, a little bit on the skinny side for 2020, so they've gone. Grips, yes, it had some, but because of the bar ends, they've actually been cut and they're extremely short, only about the width of your hand. Horrible, really, kind of like the thing that you get on like a grip shift setup, a really short bar. And instead of moving everything along where they'd fit the bar ends, they've decided to just chop them down, which I really don't like. Brake levers, Avids, that's correct. Cable. Shimano Olivio levers, that's correct. Hayes MX2 mechanical brakes with 203 rotors, that's also correct. And I actually thought from looking at the original photographs that was going to be incorrect. I looked at this and I thought, well, they look like they've been upgraded, but that was the only thing I actually had any doubts about on the bike. But anyway, so yeah, that actually turns out to be correct. It came with 203mm rotors. So it's got Olivio rear mech, that's correct. Front mech Sun Tour, it actually had a Dior one on, so maybe that's been upgraded at some point, or maybe that's where it's ended up with a 3x. I'm not sure, but it had a Dior front one. Crankset, Truvative Blaze, that's correct, but this one had a 3x. It has power spline, yes. Extra tough guard, no guard on it. Oh, maybe there was, but anyway. Bottom bracket, power spline cartridge bearing, yes. Cassette, 11 to 30, 8 speed, that's correct. 8 speed chain, yes. That's correct. WT power V-Comp saddle, that's actually still on the bike. Seat post, black finish, yes. Pedals, alloy, yes. Okay. So when we've gone through this, we're keeping obviously the rear suspension, great. Frame, yes, we're keeping that. Rear shock, that's going. Gears, that's all going. Fork, that's going. A headset, yes, we're keeping that, it's in good condition, works perfectly. We'll re-grease it, but it's perfect as it is, so we'll keep that. Shimano hubs, yes, we're keeping all that. Cassette mount, obviously. The wheels, yes, we're keeping those, they're in extremely good condition, dead straight, amazing, can't ask for more. I was really surprised how good these were. Staying with the spokes, when we wash the bike, the spokes don't have any rust or anything. Sometimes you tend to get with stainless spokes little spots of rust all over them when they've been stood a long time, but that's just not the case with this one, they're in really good condition. The tyres there, cracked and perished, it's not that they're worn out, but they're gone. Same with the headset, it's got too much reach, that's gone. These are too thin, they're gone. Grips have been cut, they're gone. The brake levers, they're gone because the cable. We're going to upgrade to hydraulic brakes. The Olivio trigger shifters, we're keeping the 8 shift on the right hand side for the rear cassette, and the front side is going in the bin. We're going to run a 1x setup on this bike. So when we get to the brakes here, the mechanical disc brakes, they're going, we're going to be replacing them with hydraulics, 203mm rotors. For the time being, we're going to leave that alone, but I'll come back to that later. Rear mech we're keeping, it's an Olivio Shimano, happy with that. Front mech has a Dior, but it's going in the bin for a 1x setup. Crankset, when we've inspected the bike, I've actually found that this crankset is a 4-bolt 104 BCD. So I was actually going to replace everything, but I've wound up only needing to replace the chainring with a narrow wide 32 tooth. So we're keeping the crankset, but we're throwing away the actual chain rings. Okay. Bottom bracket, yes, we're keeping that, it's in great condition, no play, it's perfect, couldn't be happier. 11 to 30 cassette, that's going in the bin. Chain in the bin. Seat we're keeping. Seat post is going, and pedals we're going to keep. They're actually not bad. So we're happy with all that. So with that in mind, this is where we get to. This is the bike torn down. Okay. That's just a placeholder so the seat's not loose. This is just a placeholder so that the bike stands up. Same with the forks. They're going. This is going. This is going. But you can see it's pretty much stripped down now. And when you look a bit closer, here you can see the mount for the 203 to fit this disc, 203mm disc. This mounting here, plus the caliper on top. When you see it in person, it stands off the bike so far. I really don't like it. And this one also is quite a big mount. It's got quite a big chunk of alloy. It's stepped away from the original mounts to fit the 203mm rotor, and I just don't like how that's set up. So because the other thing is that the discs aren't in brilliant condition. They have got the little spots of rust on the arms and stuff like that, and they're not brilliant on the face where they actually meet the calipers. So we're going to be replacing those as well. And again, that's just one of those things where I've taken a decision based on not only how it looks, because I don't like this, but also on potential performance. I think that a hydraulic brake set is fantastic by comparison to any other type of brake, including cable disc brake. Cable brake disc brakes are better than any other kind of brake, but hydraulic disc brakes are an order of magnitude better than cable disc brakes. Even the cheap hydraulic brakes are still better than cable. So with that in mind, I don't think we're going to need 203 rotors to go with our upgraded calipers and handles. So with a complete new brake system, we'll be heading somewhere good. We've taken the crank chain rings off and everything. No cassette, no derailleur. We've removed absolutely everything from the bike. So it's just a rolling chassis, if you like, a rolling frame. We're going to take it from there. Again, that's the rear shock. We've been over that. Front fork, we've been over that. This is it from the other side. Again, you can see it's got the 4x104 BCD, which means that any chainring that you can just buy straight off the shelf will fit straight onto this. It takes a direct mount derailleur. Great. Again, these are all good things, really good features that haven't changed at all. The things that have changed to a modern bike now is maybe you'd have the 1.5 inch at the bottom, so you'd have the tapered steerer, and the other thing is that you'd have larger wheels. You know, you'd be 27.5 or most likely 29 now. Whereas this being a 2005 bike, this is how it is. The other thing that you tend to notice also is that the line down here, there's no sweep forward on the fork. Like a modern set of forks tends to sweep forward here on this crown, and this set doesn't. Now when we replace these, I'm going to try and get some with a little bit of sweep, which gives us a little bit of extra angle and you know, like a little bit of how do you say, a little bit of extra slackness to the bike here, more open, because we move it out a little bit. So that's just something that I'm aiming for, just to try and give it a little bit of extra. So here again you see the cranks, and you can see just how filthy the bike was. You know, once we've stripped it down, it needs going over once again. But everything's in its place, you know, like there's no loose bolts, and everything tends to work. It's just that we're going to have to do some upgrades to bring it up to date. So I'm happy with it, you know. Seeing that one as well. And again, 7005 alloy frame. This is with it all cleaned up, okay. And what we've done so far here is we've got us new shock. And what we did, well, we took a measurement from eye to eye with the original shock in place. The measurement's 190mm. Then we go on to eBay and we find ourselves a shock. Once we've got the shock, so I found mine, the 190. I bought the single, as in one air chamber instead of two air chambers, because number one, I think the bike's tight and the fitting, and I'm not sure if this would have fouled. And the other thing is, I'm not sure, I've never used a dual chamber air for rear, so I just went for the single because I understand it. You pump it up and it works. So I thought we'll go for the simplicity. I just don't see what the benefit would be from having dual chamber air. But I may you know, there may be some amazing benefits. I'm not aware of them, so I just went for the single one with that, and good price, £46. So yeah, we're happy with that one. And there it is fitted to the bike. We've also got single chainring fitted now, and you can see exactly how it mounts to the original crank. The chainring that we bought was extremely expensive, I'm not going to lie. When I can find it, I'll show you it. Here it is. This one. So it's a Decas, which with the graphics that's on it, it very much looks like a rip-off of a race face item. And that's kind of the theme with this bike. We're going to go for the like all China rebuild. So it's going to be like, what happens if you take a bike that's 15 years old and update it to all modern things but with all China parts, and do it for the absolute bare minimum price, and how will it perform? So this chainring, it's a 32 tooth 104 BCD, it's round instead of oval, not bothered about any of that sort of stuff, and it was £7, posters and everything, and it's a narrow wide and it's got everything that you need. It looks exactly like a race face one, but it says something else, and I find it dead tongue-in-cheek and dead comedy that they can get away with doing this sort of thing. So we're going to give it a try and see how that goes. And once it's fitted, this is how it looks, and I think it looks really good. The other thing we're using is a chain guide. We don't specifically need to use a chain guide on this bike because of the narrow wide, but because of this stump on the frame, I think that we're very wise to do so. So that's something else that we've bought, and this is it right here. Again, straight off of eBay, straight from China, and really nice piece. Can't argue with that either. Quality's fine. Haven't come across a piece yet that I wasn't happy with from them. And this is it all set up and looks great. Or at least I think so. So we've also upgraded the cassette on the rear, and this is the new cassette fitted. It's a 42 tooth to 11 tooth. It's got the little red tag on it. This is the item from eBay, and again, everything that you need is right there. So it's an 8-speed, so we've kept the original Shimano shifter, we've kept the original Olivio derailleur, and we've added this to it, and just brought it up to date because we've gone single chainring at the front. We've broadened up the cassette at the back to a 42 tooth, and £15 delivered. Again, it's got the little red accent, so we're happy with that. Brilliant. Another great bike. And yeah, so again, with the shock and the chainring, very happy with those. Then we start coming to tyre choice. Now, I tend to like something a little bit fatter knobs at the front and smaller knobs at the back. So with that in mind, I've purchased this tyre for the front, which is a blackjack. It's got quite large knobs, and for the rear, purchased the Rapid Rob, which has got quite small knobs, and hopefully it's quite fast. Tyres look good on the bike, and no problems. I would have liked to have gone tubeless, and before the comments start sounding off with all that sort of thing, I couldn't do it because on this bike, the wheels, if I can just get a picture up, the wheels have got Schrader valves, and I'm not sure that tubeless valve for Presta, which is what bicycle tubeless valves are, would have worked. So with that in mind, I thought, well, we'll just stick to what we've got, which is 26 inch with Schrader valves. So we haven't gone for any special tubeless setups, ghetto tubeless or anything else. I just don't think it would have worked with the size of the hole in the rim, so we left it at what we've got. So yeah, this is a rear tyre, and this is what front tyre we've gone for. Nothing special, get the job done. I like Schwalbe, so that's the make that I always buy. Okay, and here's another picture of the bike stripped down. You can see a little bit more of that wear on those discs here. You can also see again a bit better just how big this mount is, and then when you've got the caliper on, it's up here somewhere, it just looks ridiculous. So I'm going to be changing that out too. So as we're going along, you can see it's very bare bones like that, but it gives you a good idea of exactly what you're working with and just what you can do with what you've got. So I take the opportunity while it's like this to give it a really good clean, good polish, and make sure that everything's in as best condition as possible. Make sure the wheels are true, and I was just amazed that the core components that I intended to keep were fantastic. So the bearings on this, when they were checked, brilliant. All the bearings were good. A couple of the bolts, like this one here in particular, were working loose, so we re-Loctited all those sorts of things and just made sure everything's as it should be. Greased the seat post. We greased all the bearings when we changed the fork. We'll just go from there. So the next thing that we get is we get a dropper post. This is the cheapest brand new post I could find. I'll be honest, I needed it to be external, otherwise I'd have had to drill the frame, which I could have drilled the frame, but I really would prefer not to. So we've gone with an external. It was the cheapest one I could find, and it's not particularly impressive, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit of a letdown is this one. I wish I'd have spent a little bit more here, but that is what it is. And it ends up in here. So yeah, let's have a look, see if we can find a picture with it in. There we go. So that's with it closed, and you can see it looks horrible. It does work, but it's not my favourite piece of the bike. You can also see that rear tyre on. You see we've got the chain and the cassette on here, the chain guide. It's starting to come together with a few parts, and you see that it's a lot shinier and cleaner down here now. It's had a really good clean and polish. Everything's looking good. See what I mean? All really good condition. That rear tyre looks good. Everything's happy. So then we start coming to other parts. So let's just go over all the parts that we have bought for the bike. Firstly, we bought brakes. These are the brakes I've bought. They're like rip-off Shimano ones. These calipers are very much like what you'd find on an XC bike. Same with the handle reach. It's a two-finger handle rather than a single finger, in my opinion. And it screams cross-country Shimano, like Livio brakes or something like that, or a Saracen brakes. And same with the caliper. And I believe that the pads are going to be to fit that as well. So these are the ones we went for. Really expensive, but they look really nice, so we'll have a go at those. To go with that, we bought discs, and we just bought a 180 for the front, and then we've dropped to a 160 on the back, which is, I believe, what the original mounting is made for. So we've just gone to kind of stock what it should have been, not 203 on steroids, and 180 for the front. I think that's fair. And already been over that, but that's the front tyre, rear tyre. This is the chain guide that we bought, very nice. I actually really like this, mate. This Zito stuff is actually quite good for the money. I haven't come across one of their items I haven't liked yet. This is the handlebar that we're going to use. It's a 780, nothing special, cheap as chips, aluminium, not going for any kind of carbon or anything like that. These are the grips. As yet these are still to arrive, but just basically red accent, lock on grips, cheapest ones I could find. That's the shock, we've already been over that. This is the stem, it's a alloy one, it's 50mm reach, it's made, it fits the handlebar that I've ordered. Nothing special, but a red accent, that's the one we've gone for. This is the cassette, again it's an 8-speed, 42 tooth outer, 11 tooth inner, with a nice little red accent, happy with that. This is this fake race face chain ring, been over that, happy with that. This is the dropper post, again, not the best, but that's what we've ended up with. This is the chain we've bought. I bought a 9-speed chain, even though I'm running an 8-speed setup, purely because I think that as soon as you step up to a 9 or 10 or 11-speed chain, you start getting a better quality chain. So rather than buying an 8-speed for an 8-speed, I've just bought a 9-speed because I honestly believe that you tend to get better tolerances and just a better quality chain when you move up to a more specialised item. So that's why I bought this one. Nothing like that, it's just my personal riding opinion. I like quality, and I believe that this gives me quality. But this is the cheapest 9-speed chain I could find. When it's turned up, it actually turned up in a genuine Shimano box. I was really surprised. I thought I was buying a fake, and I'm ended up with a real one. So happy days. And then just to go with those brakes, this is the Shimano adapter for the 180 on the front, and again far more small and discreet than anything else. It's just got through holes, no big spaces off to the side, and then chunks of aluminium to the side like here and here. this is ideal, and it goes up well with the discs that we bought. So that's the item that we needed for that. And finally, this is the fork we've bought. I actually paid a little bit less than this because I bought a 26 inch, but for some reason they seem to be out of stock of that item now. And again, the original fork was 130mm travel. I couldn't find a China air fork that was 130mm, but this is 120. It's as close as I could get, and it's cool. I've paid like £120 for mine, a little bit less than that, but yeah, it's got the 1 1/8 straight steerer. It's a brand new air fork. We've got an air shock for the rear, so we're bringing the bike completely up to date, and everything should be really good with it. Happy with that. So let's have a look where into all of those slides. Yes, back to the bike. Okay. So once we get it all built up, we start getting somewhere with it, and you start seeing little bits and bobs coming together. So let's just have a look, see if we can find something there. So there we go. This is it as it's built up, and you can see the new fork's got the sweep to the front, so it gives it a little bit more angle forward, a little bit, and just opens it out a little bit there. The new disc looks dead on right sides for the bike, same on the rear. The cassette looks dead right, tyres look good, the wheels look good now they're clean, the derailleur's fitted and it's clean and tidy, chainring looks good, chain guide, everything clean, tidy, getting really good. This is a pretty much complete bike, and I couldn't honestly be happier with it for what we've done. And to say that that's what we were left with when we started actually once we stripped the bike and started ordering parts, you just can't argue with it. Here's a rear brake setup again. You can see that's almost an identical copy to a Shimano rear, to a Shimano caliper, with the nice little bracket that comes along with the caliper itself. Perfect IS mount. It's really nice and tidy, and it brings it all really close to the frame. The original one was somewhere up here. This is a 160mm disc, fits straight on, no problems, looks great, nice and discreet, tidy. I'm very happy. Suspension pivots all worked out very well. You know, I couldn't have been happier with that either, to be honest. Really good parts on it. Here's a cockpit, and again, those handles, I think they're 2-finger, but maybe not. But you can see they're very much like what you get on an XC bike, kind of like an Acera type or an Olivio type. Here's the fork. This damper, it's incremental, so it's got maybe 10 notches from there all the way around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe something like that, round to about here. And that here's fully locked out, here's fully open, and the damper's incremental in between. Works really well. This is the air chamber for the fork. Again, it's dead simple to work. One damper, one air cylinder, set it up, away you go, and it's fantastic. The damper works really well, if I'm honest, for a £120 fork. I'm really surprised. Here's my 780 bars. Yes, we're waiting for the grips to arrive still, but no big worries. Doesn't stop you from being able to look at the bike. New stem, again, all caps. Still got the Cane Creeker original headset in there. Got the swept forward forks to give us a little bit slacker angles. Dropper post, original Shimano 8-speed shifter. Everything's good. Yeah, from the back you can see that cassette fitted, looks good. We've got just a little neoprene silence keeper. We've got a little bit of tape here and there just to try and keep the bike as quiet as possible, and it really is quiet as well. This bike's almost silent running. The free hub's very quiet, and it's really nice to ride. It's quiet as you like. And same thing other side. Again, that 180mm disc with the really nice discreet little thing, little brace. Looks just right, I think. That doesn't look out of place. Nothing looks ridiculous on it, and I think even the travel of the bike looks right. Nothing looks out of place or unbalanced on the bike. It was good to me. Again, pictures of the cockpit. You can see the air cap, and again down to there, onto the brake. You see how good condition these wheels are. Fantastic. I've picked up a really good bike there, £50. I really did pick up a good deal. Also a shock mount here. But just interestingly on the shock mount actually, here's a fork. Well, we're talking about something totally different, but here's the fork mount. That's just cable tied on because right at that moment in time I was just testing it, making sure everything was working. before I started undoing all the clamps and bolting it all up. I just wanted to make sure everything worked, so that was just a placeholder for the time being. It is clamped into the proper clamp here, yes. And again, see that perfect mount there, and this looks very good. Brand new discs, brand new calipers, brand new handles and hoses. It all looks and works really well. Genuine Shimano hubs. Quick release though, it's 15 years old. So here, that's what I'm trying to talk about, the shock. So the new shock, when it came with an eyebolt, a little plastic furniture, if you like, fittings, and those would have worked. I've had to modify them a bit to fit into here, but the beauty of having a bike that already had a shock on it, when I took the old shock off the bushings here, they fit straight into this one, perfect fit, and obviously they were made to fit this bike, so it was literally the easiest swap ever. It was just as easy as swapping out the fork. You know, literally take out the old shock, remove the little bushings from each side of each eye, put them into the new shock, put the shock into the bike, bolt everything up, gravy. A little bit of lubrication here and there, it was perfect. It couldn't have been easier. And again, you see here, J-ring, got that 32 tooth on, and again you can see this is a car wiring harness, loom tape. It's like fabric tape, and just a little tiny bit just wrapped around there, keeps the bike silent. Into cockpit, again you can see that alloy stem, the red brakes, and that genuine Shimano 8-speed. Dropper post leather. I'm not sure about the cable coming out the top, but it is what it is. And again, brake leather there. See straight down to my caliper. Everything's absolutely great, and again that adjustable damper, the air cylinder. The damper again, it winds all the way around here, all the way to like here, and it is progressive. Each click is progressive. It's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it's progressive, and each one makes it more and more difficult to move the shocker to at the point where it's locked out. It's actually a really good system. How well it works out in the long term, I'm really interested to see. But yeah, it works remarkably well for the price, so I can't argue with that. We've seen that slide. So now I suppose we're getting to the actual glamour shots, are we?